Let's give it a try. We're on page 173. Let's try these steps here. We're still analyzing and describing. So now we will be following the steps to analyze 18 divided by 3 plus 4 times p to the second power. So we're going to look at the parts of the expression in parentheses. So this is our p, our PEMDAS, right? These are our steps. So here's our original expression. So we're going to analyze it, look for the parts. So here we have, well, I don't see anything in parentheses, right? So there's nothing to circle. We're trying this diagram out, right? Next, we're going to look for the powers and circle them. Well, there's this one. So here's a small circle. And we're going to look for multiplication and division from left to right. Well, I see 18 divided by 2. So I'm chunking that together. And I see 4 times the result of p to the second power. So I'm going to chunk those together. So far we have 2 main circles or terms. Then we're going to look for addition and subtraction. And we don't see any more. So below is a diagram for 18 divided by 2 plus 4 times the power, or p to the second power. And we would make sure this matches up. So we would call this a quotient because we divided. This would be called the product because we multiplied. There are 2 terms. It does seem to match what I did up above. We didn't really have to circle the numbers, separate numbers here. So now we're going to analyze the expression and match the expression with the diagram that describes it. So down below, we're going to do 2 things. We're going to analyze the expressions, and then we're going to match them with the diagrams. So what you write on the line is the letter of the diagram. So this would say A or B or C. There's no solving needed. In fact, you can't solve it. There's no value known for C or D or E. So you can pause this to solve, but I will go ahead and show you what this would look like. So first, for number 11, you have parentheses. So let's circle that, because that was the first step. The second step was any powers. I don't see any powers. And then it's any division or multiplication or division from left to right. I see this 4 times this. So I'm going to chunk these together and draw a circle around there. The last is adding or subtracting. Well, the 12 on its own is a term because any numbers for adding or subtracting are their own terms. So if you look at the diagrams now, A doesn't match, B doesn't match, but C says number, subtract, or minus the product of 2 more. So this has 2 terms like ours did, so C would get written on the line. Number 12, I see no parentheses, I see no powers, I see 2 multiplication problems, so I'm going to circle this one and this one, and I'm just going to leave that alone, and it's actually just going to be B, because you have your 7 and your 8, those are 2 individual parts that got multiplied together, subtract or minus the next 2, so B would become your answer here. Number 13, I see parentheses. So this part here would get circled. I don't see any powers, but I see multiplication here. I have a number by itself, but then I also have this whole thing, because it's 2 times the answer here. This is going to be A. And let's check that. Did we end up with 1 term, a product of something times another? Because see, all of this was 1 chunk. So it's this one times this one. So A should be there.